So I met a vampire. Hi guys. I wasn't very sure if to post this or not, but here it goes anyways. It was back in 2011. Back then, I was very engaged in political activism, and I ended up organizing an Occupy movement in the city I was living in, along with some other fellows. I'd rather not give any names or locations to preserve the guy. We camped in a downtown square for about 4 months. Throughout this period, a lot of people came in and out, and by the second month, I had to travel to another city where my parents were living for a week. When I came back to the occupation, there was a guy living there and arrived exactly when I left. He somehow already had some respect from the other people in a very short period of time. He was tall, blonde, long hair, a bit hippie, had a profound voice that implied self-confidence. He had by some means a strange aura, but okay, no big deal. Seemed like a cool guy after a while. With time, he became my friend, and we ended up having long conversations about pretty much everything that interested me and vice versa, like occultism, magic, UFOs, etc. Until he brought up vampirism subject, which I was not familiar with at the time. He explained me some stuff like that the vampires were actually normal people that could manage their own life force, and apparently they have been misinterpreted since always. And he told me that there are some secret vampire groups, small ones, that preserve the rituals. There was no blood-sucking thing going on, as he said the blood was an analogy to life force. They were not actually sucking it from people. But they could indeed suck someone's life force. But more important, he said, was to know how to use your own. The conversation finished there. The whole thing seemed interesting to me. And after a while, we went to sleep. Some days later, here's what happened. My house was quite close to the occupation, and once in a while, some of my friends would often ask me to use bathroom or to have a shower, and then this guy asked me the same. I said yes, no problem at all. Everything went fine. The guy had a shower, and when we were walking back to the occupation, he brought the subject about vampirism again. This time he was wearing an anonymous plastic mask, which completely covered his face. He started to explain how one can control his own life force inside the dreams, and how that would actually affect the actual material body. Meanwhile, he is explaining me that I see his jaw making a strange movement, as if there was something stuck between his teeth, and he was trying to clean it. When he finishes the explanation, he calls me by my name, and raises the mask slightly, so I can take a look at his mouth. And then I saw this huge canine tooth. He pulls down the mask. I didn't know how to react, so I just remained calm, and I asked him what that was for, and if it didn't actually suck blood from other people. And he told me it worked as sort of a antenna to capture different vibrations, and he managed to construct it by molding his life force into that shape inside his dreams. And he asked me if I would be interested to do the same. I told him that it sounded interesting, and he just let me think about it. We arrived at the occupations as if nothing had happened. I didn't see any strange movements by his hands, trying to insert a fake tooth into his mouth, or trying to remove it either. The sensation I got was that he pulled the tooth out by a jaw movement. The whole thing was very strange to digest. I didn't know what to do, so I called my friend, and he just said that the whole story sounded too crazy to be believable. We still lived together in the occupation for a while, but I never brought the subject again. The guy totally noticed my attempt to avoid it, so he didn't push me either. There was another strange fact after a while. Once he was shirtless and crouched, organizing some stuff inside his tent. The muscles on his back formed in the shape of a winged dragon. It was incredibly similar. Another girl that was at the occasion witnessed it and freaked out a little bit. The occupation eventually finished, and that guy ended up dating a girl that he met there, and they both had a kid. The guy seemed pretty normal, despite these two occasions. I just wanted to share, and thanks for reading till the end. Lafayette Municipal Cemetery Vampire. Hey guys, this happened about 9 years ago. My mom had made his friend who claimed to be psychic. I never really believed that she was, but that's a completely different story to tell. Anyways, she said she liked to go ghost hunting. Mind you, this is when Ghost Hunters was a pretty popular show. My mom, sisters, and I decided it could be fun. We didn't have the special equipment they had, but we did have a video camera and a voice recorder, so we were good to go. We visited several cemeteries that summer and got some pretty awesome footage, which I can share later if you guys want me to. This one has always stuck with me. So, in doing research on where we should go next, I found a post about the cemetery in Lafayette, Colorado. It was supposedly a vampire that was buried there. The post said people believed this because he was from Transylvania, and a tree grew right up through the middle of the grave, where they said his heart would have been. We decided to go. About 3 hours later, we show up at the cemetery, and it looks more like a park. We get out of the car and begin walking in the cemetery, looking through all the headstones. Not very far into our walk, we come to the vampire's resting place. The headstone is a plain slab of concrete with a line down the middle and the name of the man, when he died and where he was from. My sister, toting the video camera, comes walking up to me and says, "So this is your stake, huh?" We didn't hear anything weird and continued to walk around after that. The cemetery was pretty mild in comparison to the other ones that we had been to. The feelings weren't overbearing or scary at all. Suddenly, Sandy comes running towards us, whispering frantically, "We have to leave. We have to leave right now. They are coming." She's the psychic one. Anyways, we start rushing back to the car, and suddenly, these police officers on bikes come riding up. They gave us a warning, saying the park was officially closed for the evening, but we could visit during the daytime. We drove home and plugged in the camera to check the footage. We got to the part where Elizabeth had said, "So this is your stake, huh?" And a reply immediately came saying, "Yes, my stake." We went back several times to make sure we weren't imagining the whole situation, but every single one of us had heard it. That voice. That saying, those words. Skip forward a few years, I was taking my mom to the dentist, and when we got in the waiting room was a book of the most haunted places in Colorado. Well, of course, it piqued my curiosity and my interest. During her visit, I scanned the book, and about halfway through, I came to a page where the Lafayette vampire was. The crew who also investigated his grave had asked a similar question to Elizabeth, and the response they got, wait for it, "Yes, my stake." I started laughing. We were so sure we had imagined it because we wanted to hear it, but there was no imagining. Two separate groups of people who got the exact same response. If you ever go there, go check it out. Lafayette, Colorado. The cemetery isn't as scary or overly creepy as some of the other ones. It's not really a scary one, to be honest, but the response you get from the vampire is real. The man, or men in the grave, weren't actually vampires. They were mine workers. And if I remember correctly, they died in 1918 Spanish flu. They were poor and didn't have the money to send their bodies back to their home for burial. So they are buried here. I hope you enjoy this one as much as I have for the last several years. It's one moment or two that I'll never forget. Vampire transformation urgent. Life may be in danger. Hi, my name is Mo, and I think I messed up with something I'm not meant to. A bit of background. I'm a young guy in my teens. I like to get curious about myth, legend, supernatural, and the paranormal stuff. I know this does not sound relevant, but it soon will. These incidences could have been coincidental or these two reasons. The first one, I genuinely like the thought of vampires, werewolves, and even hybrids. I know this sounds stupid, but bear with me. A week prior to the occurrence of these incidences, I found something random that I didn't believe, and I thought was complete and utter bullshit. It was a weird text to become a hybrid. The weird text required a full moon and the user to say it twice. Also the user to be alone, and on that day, it was gonna be a full moon. I forgot about it for the rest of the day until nightfall. I remember it was a full moon, and I knew the weird text. I said the weird text and altered along the lines of, "Please, God, do not make me a slave to the sun or the moon, and protect me." I only add this bit because I'm a man of God. I say the weird text 1 or 2 times and didn't get anything out of it. Now for the second reason. A few hours before these occurrences, I found another weird text of how to become a vampire. I know, stupid move, I'm naive and stupid, but still I thought it was completely and utter bullshit, so I went on with my day, and I remembered it at nighttime, and this weird text required the user to say it 9 times. I only said it once with the same alteration as the hybrid weird text, and then thought it was complete and utter bullshit, so I left it and thought nothing of it and went to bed. This is where the occurrences started maybe half an hour after I went to sleep. I found myself wide awake. I wasn't meant to be wide awake. I thought this was very weird because I wasn't even drowsy or even showed signs of wanting to sleep. I felt very weird and hadn't felt a dark presence. I felt a sharp pain in my gums, and also my teeth felt pointier and felt a very intense pain in my head. I also felt extremely dizzy. So I got up to walk to the bathroom, which was right next door to my room, which has its benefits. I got into the bathroom as soon as the lock slammed shut. Some vomit started coming out. It was like everything I ate in the day came out, and something was off. I don't know how to explain it, but after that my pain increased, so I cleaned up and returned to bed. But when I went to bed, my headache and dizziness and mouth pain increased, and I started to get a stomach ache. Even the food in my belly had poured out. I genuinely thought that death was going to take me that night. I started saying prayers and closed my eyes, and imagined me saying goodbye, and asked forgiveness to everyone whom I loved and held dearly, and the ones I've hurt, and in doing so I fell asleep for 15 minutes. I woke up the same as before. My body was still in agony. I went on my phone. The first thing that came up was how to know if the vampire or hybrid thing worked. The symptoms that were written as follows: headache, dizziness, stomach ache, tooth or mouth ache. I had all the symptoms. I wasn't happy. I thought it was a lie. Never thought something like that was even possible. I didn't think I would have ended up in that situation. The rest of the night, however, I watched a TV series. I was in it to go without sleep. But in the morning, even though I was in agonizing pain, I went to school because I had end of the year exams, so I usually go by a train to go to school. I just couldn't. I was feeling too dizzy, and I even tried from the night, so I tried to hide my pain best as possible. I asked my dad to please drop me off. He complied and asked me a question. Why were you on your phone all night? And are you feeling alright? I really wanted to tell him, but I couldn't because I was too embarrassed. I replied, no, I'm fine, Dad. Let's get going. By now, I texted my best friend everything that happened, and told him to watch over me. We'll call him Naz. On the car ride to school, I was closing my eyes, resting my feet on the footrest, so my dad couldn't tell, so we could go to school. I got up and tried my best to compel the pain. I got out of the car and entered the school building. As soon as I entered, I got into the classroom and began to rest, because it was registration time and I still had time left. A shortage of time went, and I was in it for the exams. I tried my best in them and sat through it, but the examiners were lenient because I was sick. I still had my jacket on and was feeling boiling hot, and I wasn't uniform, so I took it off and felt an unbearable coldness, so I had the permission to leave on my jacket in that situation. Usually they would never allow that. The rest of the school day passed until PE. I wasn't doing PE, so I watched the rest of my classmates and friends play football. Naz wasn't playing as well, so I had company. He was trying to cheer me up and take my mind off of it. The teacher came up to me and started a conversation. You know, the normal stuff like, how are you and that crap? And then he asked me, what's wrong with you? I replied, I'm ill, sir. Then he stared at me and said, what's wrong with your eyes? I said nothing. He laughed and said, are you sure you're not on anything? Immediately I said no, and walked around the pitch and park with Naz. My eyes returned to normal, so we sat back down and I found the pain intolerable. I would have just finished the long day and wanted to go home. My other friend, we'll call him Bill, I trained pool with, said, bro, you haven't eaten anything all day. I didn't eat. Whatever I ate came out of me. Let me buy you a drink. I complied. I was gonna get a drink like I did in the morning. I wanted to get orange juice, but I ended up getting red without thinking and realized it until I started drinking it. The train ride home was calm, and my friend Bill watched over me while I went home. He made sure I got a seat, so when I got home, I couldn't take the pain anymore, so I went to bed and rested this time. I wasn't feeling tired, but still went to sleep. I woke extremely weirdly to do business. I got up and realized I was sweating more than usual. I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and saw my skin was very, very red. By the way, my bed is right next to a window, so direct sunlight as well. I thought that's happening to me, so I did my business and returned back to my sleep. Obviously, my mom called me a few times to eat, but I told her I was sleeping. I slept until just before midnight. My mom woke me up saying, you haven't eaten all day, go eat. So I got up late, ate food, and then rested after eating. I returned to bed in my ill state and continued watching a TV series, and eventually lasted until 2 o'clock, and then I resumed sleeping my pain, but sleeping kinda made it better and stopped a lot of the pain. Update. Today I woke up vomiting, had stopped, but left a major stomach ache. Also my headache and dizziness remains, and my body started to hurt. I still had enough strength for the day, I hope. I got to school and still exams. I was still ill and tried my best in these exams. 3 incidences happened today. The first, the biggest, strongest guy in our class, were headbutting each other as a joke. I know, stupid mistake, give it my head, but the weird thing was that I didn't feel anything. While his forehead went red, he was headbutting me. Incident 2, this guy in my class has really pissed me off, even though I didn't do anything to him. He started cussing at me and acting big. I almost taught him a life lesson if my mate Sam didn't calm me down. I didn't feel normal anger, I felt supernatural type of anger. I do not know how to explain it. I felt stronger, even though my entire body was in pain. Isn't it 3? My friend Naz punched my hand hard, but I thought it should have hurt more, so I told him punch my hand harder. He did, it didn't hurt as it should have. So Naz and I came up with maybe this happened because I didn't say it the right amount of times. So the next full moon, which is in 25 days, I'm going to do both texts with the alterations, and then we will find a way to reverse this if this is the case. I have now gone home and decided to write this. If anything happens to me, I do not know which spell may have manifested itself. I don't know if this is a coincidence or if I'm just really sick. I don't know what to do, but I sit here ill and trying to write this, begging for your help, because please let me know if it ended up happening, if there's a cure for vampirism. What do you guys think happened to me? Meaning, what went wrong in this whole situation? I don't know what I messed up with, but right now, I know I am paying the price. I do not really want to be a vampire or hybrid, watching my loved ones grow old and die, and want to see me not aging a day. I don't want to live on. The things that humans need survive. I don't want to hurt my loved ones by accident, and I didn't contain the text I said in case anyone else attempts it. If anything were to happen now, tell everyone, I am sorry. Yours truly, sincerely, Mo. Please excuse any mistakes or errors in this. I am ill, and I'm trying to write this with the best of my abilities.